265. After Cuban restaurant owner Fernando Martinez in Louisville refused to bow down to local BLM demands and called out the group for using mafia tactics, the latter proved him right by vandalizing his restaurant. 266. A teenage boy at a Walmart in Post Falls, Idaho was punched for not wearing a face mask. 267. The unidentified woman, who was referred to by the Gateway pundit as a Karen, who was caught on camera assaulting the boy, had assault charges filed against her by the boy's parents for the incident. 7-year-old Zamar Jones, who had aspired to become a police officer. 268. Was murdered on the porch of his home in the midst of street thugs recklessly firing bullets, one of which hit Jones. 269. One of the shooters has since been caught and charged with attempted murder, while Philadelphia police are searching for 2 other suspects. Antifa and BLM rioters in Portland, Oregon got a gun pulled on them by a driver after attacking him for trying to navigate through a street they were trying to barricade. The thugs slashed his vehicle's tires, broke the windows and tossed a motorcycle in front of the truck in an unsuccessful attempt at blocking him, then chased after the truck on foot for 12 blocks before they were scared off by the gun-toting driver. 270. Following the incident, the punks attempted to play victim to their liberal media sympathizers. Racist BLM supporters shot at and viciously assaulted black police officer Joseph Mensah and his girlfriend at the latter's home, which was also vandalized by the domestic terrorists while there were children inside, in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. 271. Before the mob of intruders were dispersed by Wauwatosa police and neighboring police departments. Wauwatosa Mayor Dennis McBride declared in a press release that any of the criminal suspects that are identified as being involved in the riot will be arrested, charged, and prosecuted. BLM rioters stormed Georgetown, intimidating residents, and causing noise pollution in the middle of the night. 272. Rioters in Portland, Oregon burned a police union building, assaulted officers with glass bottles and illegal laser pointers, and threatened to burn down the home of a resident there. 273. The thugs also harassed a woman who defended the local police, dumping paint on her head. 274. Chicago rioters vandalized and looted stores, and a 20-year-old was injured after confrontations between the looters and police officers. 275. Continuous rioting and anarchy in Portland led to police officers there being wounded by mortar attacks by Antifa punks. 276. 16 of the punks were arrested and jailed after an unlawful assembly was declared when the rioters continually refused to listen to police orders. Amid lawlessness and mass looting in Chicago, a local BLM organizer justified such as being reparation. 277. A private security guard was also shot amidst the massive amount of violence taking place. 278. Peaceful Christian protesters in Seattle, including black pastors, were confronted by knife-wielding Antifa racist punks, who screamed obscenities and yelled "Hail Satan," in childish mockery of the Christians. 279. Chicago BLM thugs vandalized a Ronald McDonald House, terrifying sick children and their families inside. 280. A 2-year-old cancer patient who intended to have his birthday celebration at the place had the planned event ruined following the terrorizing. 281. Leftist employees at a grocery store in Cedar City, Utah cursed and threatened a customer and yelled anti-Trump slurs at him, claiming he was improperly wearing a face mask. 282. And even falsely accusing him of being a Nazi while ironically behaving like Nazis themselves. The customer did not take the threats in stride and made counter-threats against the offending employees before police arrived, but no charges were filed in the incident. North Carolina felon Darius Nathaniel Sessoms, who is black, was arrested by police on a first-degree murder charge for shooting and killing 5-year-old Cannon Hinnant at point-blank range in front of the boy's family in a possible racially motivated hate crime in Wilson, North Carolina. 283. If convicted of the crime, Sessoms could receive the death penalty as a possible punishment, as North Carolina is a capital punishment state. Subsequent to the shooting, Cumberland County Juvenile Detention Center officer Rome Smith was suspended by county officials, pending the outcome of an internal investigation, after he made insensitive and racist comments about the murder victim while implying support for Sessoms. 284. Racist BLM rioters stormed a Seattle neighborhood in the middle of the night, harassing residents, and demanding that they leave their homes for reparations. 285. Racist Minnesota Democrat political candidate John Thompson, who was endorsed by fellow Democrats Ilhan Omar and State Governor Tim Walz, yelled obscenities toward young children outside the home of Minneapolis Police Union President Bob Kroll 286, including falsely calling Kroll a KKK member, while ignoring that his Democrats are the actual party of the KKK and that the Republicans have always opposed the Klan, and hurling anti-police slurs at police supporters. Violent protesters also smashed an effigy of Kroll's wife Liz Collin, who is a journalist. 287 Thompson was criticized for his racist and anti-police remarks by Minnesota GOP Chair Jennifer Carnahan and Minnesota State House GOP candidate Elliot Engel. 17-year-old Veronica Lee Baker was murdered in the parking lot of a fast food restaurant by 4 thugs in a racially motivated shooting. 288 However, because the victim was white and the perpetrators, who have all since been arrested and face multiple felony charges, were black, the reporting mainly appeared on local newscasts and was ignored nationally by the liberal media. Deranged supporters of mentally faltering Democrat presidential candidate Joe Biden stooped to new lows as they swarmed and attacked a 7-year-old boy for wearing a MAGA hat, stole the hat from him and assaulted his mother at a virtual venue for the Democratic National Convention in Wilmington, Delaware. 289 then attempted to get increasingly aggressive against the boy and his mother when they tried to get the hat back. One of the pro-Biden aggressors, Olivia Winslow, was later arrested by Wilmington police and charged with robbery, conspiracy, and endangering the welfare of a child for her attack on the boy. 290 While Winslow's unidentified female accomplice remains under investigation. Donald Trump Jr. weighed in on the incident on Twitter, condemning the 2 women for their criminal actions and calling for police action in bringing them to justice, while the mother likewise condemned the women for their cowardice in gang-attacking an innocent child. Left-wing fascists threaten restaurant diners. 291. BLM punks ran over a raccoon twice before beating it to death and then laughing about it in a savage act of animal cruelty because, as echoed by the niece of one of the malicious thugs in a racist tweet, only white people would supposedly ever worry about animals. 292 The punk who posted video of the barbaric act to Instagram and Facebook, where he is identified with the Facebook handle James Blue, and likewise justified his actions with racist and anti-Trump comments, has since had his accounts with those sites disabled, but Twitter posters were able to save the video and have called on the public to identify the animal killer and his cohorts and have heavily condemned James Blue and his crew for their sociopathic actions. A police report was filed against far-left DNC hack Debbie Wasserman Schultz for allegedly assaulting a 16-year-old volunteering for her primary opponent, fellow Democrat Jen Perlman. 293. Portland BLM thug and career criminal Marquise Love is currently on the run from police after being part of a mob that viciously beat a driver to the point of unconsciousness and robbed a gender-confused man claiming to be a woman. 294. Portland rioters paid the price of being tear-gassed after vandalizing a nice building and setting a bonfire in the street. 295. Militant BLM protesters in Chicago, led by spokeswoman Taylor Norwood, made open threats against the public, declaring that those who don't listen to their demands will get ran over. 296. Amid increasing violence in New York City under the mayorship of the far-left Democrat Bill de Blasio, a shooting suspected to be gang-related violence killed an 18-year-old and left 33-year-old bystander Sam Metcalf severely paralyzed. 297. Rioters in Portland, Oregon put their childishness and immaturity on full display as they vandalized a local Blazers Boys and Girls Club and hurled balloons with feces at police cars. 298. They also burned American flags and brought a mock guillotine with a stuffed bear in it. 299. A reference to the far-leftists led by Maximilien Robespierre during the French Revolution. Multiple arrests were made against the punks. Chicago BLM rioters violently beat a piñata pig they symbolized as police, dancing around the severed head. 300. BLM thugs stormed a pro-Trump rally in Beverly Hills, threatening and assaulting conservatives there, who refused to back down from the punks and, outnumbering the punks by about 10-1, stood their ground against them. 301. At least one of the punks was arrested at the scene. 9 rioters were arrested in Denver after they had joined an anti-police group in breaking windows and setting fires in the city. 302. Amid the upcoming 2020 Republican National Convention in Charlotte, North Carolina, a far-left group of protesters harassed diners and 5 of the punks were arrested after engaging in aggression, illegally obstructing roadways, and assaulting police officers. 303.